Hello, everybody. I'm back on really quick. I just want to say before I lay down here, God let me come across the story, and it was Judges, right? God been giving me this Judges for a while. He's been giving me so much, so many messages. Sometimes it's like hard for me to get it all, right? It's so much that God is giving me at once. It's like just flooding in, and so like sometimes I might go to it and I'll look. And I'll see and I'll say, okay, I'm gonna come back to this, but it's so much that he's flooding me with, so many numbers, y'all. He's flooding me with at once, and different things and the different meanings. And one of the numbers God gave me was the 1111, and it was 111, but it was like 1112, 1113, 1114, like numbers like that, right? And so as I'm sitting here, I say a quick prayer in my mind, y'all, and as quick as I said the prayer, I look up and it was something on my phone that God was showing me, and it was a story about it was Judges, and it was a story about what was his name, y'all? Let me go back and look. I don't want to get it incorrect. But it was basically about a guy who was born to a prostitute, and his brothers had chased him out. Talking about some, you ain't getting a part of our inheritance and all this stuff, right? Because he was his father's prostitute son, right? His father had a prostitute that he got pregnant, basically, and so these other boys thought that they was better, and they chased him away from the inheritance because of who they felt that he was, and he cheated on our mama with your mama, right? So they basically chased him out, and he ended up getting his own people together, like the same other, it was like other guys in the community who was born to like from prostitutes and all this stuff, and they had all came together, and they just lived in their own little land, right? And their own little desolate island, part of the, they picked out somewhere where it wasn't a whole bunch of other people. They just made their own little clique together. And so the town was being taken over once again, and these elders in the community had seeked him for his strength. And when they went to go seek him for his strength, they told him like, we need your help basically for your strength and all this, right? He like, well, what made y'all come to me, right? Then y'all talk about me, then y'all do all this stuff, then y'all talk about me like a dog, like y'all ain't want me around, and so I ain't around no more. So what is y'all doing over here? What y'all looking for me for? The guy's name was Jephthah. Jephthah is spelled Jephtha. And man, boy, did he make a mistake, and we all have been there, even myself. And so, anyways, he told them like, forget it. I guess I can go to the king on y'all behalf. He wouldn't let them cross over into his land and all this stuff. And so Jephthah tried a peaceful resolution at first and said, well, he was just going to go to the king or send somebody. I think he went to the king and talked to the king, and he asked the king, like, why was his heart so hardened towards the Israelites? And he like, because y'all had took over another, basically somewhere else. They took over another one of his kingdoms and all this stuff. And so he didn't trust him. He didn't like him, and he didn't have to, right? And no, y'all can't cross over this way. Y'all already did too much, right? For one thing that I noticed is that this is biblical, like throughout time, throughout history, just period, without even being all the way this biblical, like it's like everybody, it's like God called us back home, and then God treat us good, and then eventually we turn away from God, and then somebody come in and conquer us, and then we have to go to somebody, right? God is always raising somebody up in the background, and then God is send that person in for the savior to be the peacemaker, and then the people want to turn back up against them after they got what they want. It's just like all type of stuff that God just showing me at once, y'all, and it's a lot to take in. And so Jephthah, he couldn't soften the king's heart, basically, and come to an agreement. And so they had to go to war, right? And so Jephthah, out of desperation, he went to God and he made a vow to God that he will, whatever, if he won a war, he said that if he won a war, that he will, whatever met him at his door, basically, the first thing that met him at his door when he come from the war from winning it is that he would send it up to God as a burnt offering, right? And so he made his vow to God. And when he got home, his daughter had met him at the door, right? Y'all, crushed, right? So the daughter had agreed, like, basically, like, okay, you made this vow to God, and so I'm gonna be the sacrifice, right? We have to fulfill the vow that you gave God, right? And she was honored to be the sacrifice. But it's just crazy to me, right? Then after that, with all that, the people turned on him again, tried to turn on him again, and all this crazy stuff, and say, you ain't invite us to fight, and all this stuff, right? But he did invite them to fight, and they turned him away, and he went to battle, and he won, and they got jealous of him, right? The same people he had to go to war for, just over and over, just all this stuff, God is showing me these jealous, so, basically, y'all, I don't want to get stuck off into that. Y'all can go look up his story, but it's just like, oh, God, the people, Lord, oh. And so, I was going to wait till tomorrow to record this, but I said I'm going to do it tonight. But anyways, I just want to say, because I've been there myself, right? God gave me this over and over throughout the years, right? But I never knew that it would land me here where I'm speaking this out and I'm talking to people, right? And so I'm here. But one of the things, y'all, no matter what, I don't care how bad and in need you are and how fearful you may be sometimes and how much in desperation you are. Do not make a vow to God and break it, right? Don't make a vow out of desperation and then break that vow. I've been there before, right? Sometimes you will wonder why your life is going up Boo Boo's Creek and you wonder why your life is falling apart, right? And and you don't know that it's from a vow that you made from way back when, right? And you like, dang, I'm doing good and all this stuff, and then everything just keep happening. This bad stuff just keep happening, and all this stuff, right? And it be because you made a vow to God, and you didn't forgot. It wasn't that you didn't fulfill it out of meanness or rudeness sometimes, or like, oh, I got what I want, and everything's clean and cleaned up, right? And I got what I want, right? Sometimes it don't be that. Sometimes it's just that you could be in a space and place of desperation, and you promise God something or vow to God something, and you're going, with your life, and you'll forget that you made God this vow, and you'll be like, why is my life falling apart, right? Just take a step back, right? For all of us, even myself, y'all, I done did it. And I was speaking with somebody on this matter one time. We were just talking about different things, and this person said, whatever you do, don't make a vow to God and break that vow, right? And right then and there, it made me think, like, how many times have you been in trouble or you've been in a place of desperation and you say, God, man, what? It be little stuff, right, that you don't even think of, like, man, God, if I get out of this one, I'm going to do whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Man, if I get out of this one, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. Man, God, if I can get this, right? And it be something that you said and it just slipped your mind as quick as you said it, but you got out of that thing and you forgot you even said it out your mouth that fast, right? When you go to God, y'all don't have to go out of desperation. You don't have to go out of whatever, right? Just go and talk to him, right? Just I don't care what situation you in. Do not make a vow to God and break that vow, right? Do not, y'all. I'm telling you. And so this is a person who have even done it themselves and forgot, right? And I had to go back and sit down, like, what's going on? God trying to get my attention to something because something is going wrong, completely wrong here, right? And I'll turn around, and when me and that person later on had that conversation, I thought back. I had to go have a talk with God. I ain't doing no place of worship. I didn't go to nobody else. Me and that person just God used that person to come back and tell me something, and I went back and corrected. And I just simply said, God, you know what? If I ever made a vow and I broke that vow, I apologize to you. I didn't do that purposely. I wasn't even thinking when I said it, but God know that. It's just that he want to get your attention and show you something, right? Especially when you don't know. They always say that God don't get you for something that you don't know. You don't get in trouble for being ignorant in something. You understand? Especially because God know some of us been raised certain ways and all this stuff, right? But when you know better, you got to do better. And so I just went to God and I said, God, if I ever made a vow to you, I apologize if I didn't keep that. I only imagine how you feel. We using you for what we want and we just keep on moving, right? And God really broke that thing, whatever it was, and you done forgot all about it and you keep going. God feelings is hurt up there. I know his feelings hurt because if somebody do it to you, your feelings gonna be hurt. And you wonder why chaos is coming among your life. And now you run into the pastor talking about, help me, help me. When the pastor ain't got nothing to do with that. It's you and God. Always been you and God. And so I just had to tell somebody that. I'm not perfect by far, y'all, at all, right? But I always tell people, I'm helping you with a little bit of my story so I can help you with a little bit of your story, y'all. And I'm about to go. I ain't making this long and drawn out. I love y'all, and I'll be back only if it's God's will, all right? Bye-bye.